Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack, and delighted you've been able to tune in with us yet again for another show. Now, before we do get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next podcast, live stream, or show is available on the platform. Now, if you like listening to us on a podcast player, you can look down below and you'll find a link in the description where all the available podcast players can be found. And finally, if you want to support the show, if you like the show, there's a couple of things you can do. First, you can become a YouTube channel member, and that's the easiest way to do it. All the info is down below in the description. Just follow the link. Or furthermore, you can just buy us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. So now that's all done and dusted. We're going to jump into the top 4 stories trending here in Thailand today. Now, the first story is in relation to a clash in Bangkok recently. Royalist clash with pro-democracy group at Siam Square BTS station. A group of royalists clashed with pro-democracy demonstrators at the Siam Square SkyTrain station, forcing Pattaya police and BTS officials to close all entrances to the connected malls. The Talawang anti-monarchy group, led by Tantawan Tulanatnon, held a rally at the station to explain an incident in which she was accused of honking a car horn at the convoy of Her Royal Highness Prince Maha Shakari Siranhorn on the expressway in Bangkok. Simultaneously, a royal group rallied nearby to protest against the first group's activities. Speaking to the media during the rally, Tantawan offered a public apology for the incident, saying that she was very sorry for speeding and was not careful enough. She was booed and jeered by the royalists, resulting in a clash between the rival protesters, forcing her to end the press conference abruptly. No serious injuries were reported. Now, uniformed and plainclothes police intervened to stop the affray, and the rival groups went to Pattaya police station to lodge complaints against each other. In 2022, Tantawan was charged with lèse majesté for conducting an opinion poll on royal motorcades. Now, just a follow-up on this. Actually, it's not. There was no serious injuries. One of the royalist group basically smashed the face in of some poor young girl. Was caught hammering her with his fist to her face, which, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's a serious injury. Again, I just don't get the craziness behind all of this. Why can't people just live in harmony together and enjoy life? But in this kind of case, you know, it's just... Now, in relation, by the way, to the lady that was honking her horn because of the royal motorcade going by, the Move Forward Party also weighed in on this, said that it is international standard for when you have dignitaries or royalty or anything like that for the roads to be sealed off while the motorcades go by. And, you know, I kind of tend to agree with them. In any country I've ever been to, this has been the case. So I don't know what she was getting so upset for, but she needs to calm down. You know, she is going to end up actually in jail, and that's the rather unfortunate thing about all this. Now, moving along to another story, Russian fugitive staying in Thailand for over 10 years has been arrested. Immigration officials arrested Mr. Mikhail, a 34-year-old Russian national who has been in Thailand for more than 10 years and was wanted in Russia for drug possession. Police Lieutenant General Patana, Deputy Commissioner of the Immigration Department, said that in early October 2023, the Chonburi Immigration Department received information from a volunteer that a Russian foreigner was behaving suspiciously during his stay in Phuket and Chonburi provinces. An investigation found that the man was wanted by the Russian authorities for drug offences and had been issued an Interpol red notice. Mr. Mikhail had been hiding in a house in Nong Pru sub-district of Ban Lamang district, Chonburi province. Immigration officers tracked him down and arrested him before taking him to the Muang Pattaya police station for further prosecution. The police are preparing to extradite him to Russia in order to prosecute him. The police urged the public to report any suspicious activity to the Immigration Bureau website. Now, what this story doesn't say is actually he was on a 10-year overstay. So he entered the country and he's never actually, you know, got his proper papers, had a visa or whatnot. Now, the idea he's going to be sent back to Russia, that's going to be a tough life for this man. He's been on the run for 10 years, having a great time in Thailand, and finally it's all caught up with him. Now, interesting, my show yesterday or last night was about why Thailand has been attracting such unsavory people and criminals, etc. And somebody wrote, the comment yesterday before I decided to turn the comments off because there was a couple of numbnuts around, that, they do a good job here in Thailand of catching criminals and the unsavory types that turn up here. And I agree. I think I replied there. I agree with that statement. However, the issue is not whether they catch them, it's the issue that they're getting in so easily. And they can be here for years being undetected and then suddenly turn up. And I think Thailand does need to get a grip on it and start to do be a little bit more proactive. We've seen cases of people just strolling through immigration with Interpol notices out for them, wanted in their home countries, fake passports and whatnot. So there does need to be a little bit more of a clampdown, I think, to improve things here in the country for Thai citizens and expats alike. Now, moving along to the next story, coming out of Phuket today. The CIB arrest 2 scam gang suspects in Phuket. 2 suspects were arrested in Phuket by officers from the Central Investigation Bureau, CIB that is, and the Crime Suppression Division for opening mule bank accounts for scam gang operators. One suspect, known as Mr. Chayapong, was apprehended in Patong. He was paid only 1,000 baht to open the bank account. Chayapong was wanted for fraud related to receiving victims in an online product scam, resulting in 100,000 baht being transferred into his account. Another suspect, Miss Nisa, was arrested in Ratsada for a similar charge involving deceiving victims of over 5 million baht. The arrest followed complaints from victims, with both suspects to be found to be involved in multiple cases of fraud. They were taken into custody to face further charges. Now, this whole thing with mule bank accounts, I mean, it's actually very common here in Thailand, believe it or not. A friend of mine who has a business has found a number of his staff during his time with these mule bank accounts, unknown to themselves at times, that they didn't even know that these accounts were in their name. But seems to be very, very easy if you have a Thai ID card to be able to open the bank account like this. And this just goes to show the police are on the lookout for this. I think there's nothing worse than scamming people out of money, hard-earned money that they go to, the effort to earn, go to work every day, and these people are out there trying to basically just, scam them. I think most people who live here in Thailand know about the multiple scams you get on your phone every day. Unknown phone numbers, people trying to pretend to be from government departments, trying to tell you have to pay this, that and the other. And literally some people falling for it, and not just here in Thailand, by the way, this is a worldwide issue, but people falling for it and transferring money and losing large amounts of money. I think there's nothing worse than just scamming people out of their hard-earned money. But I'd love to know what you think about this story down in the comment section down below. Now, this is an interesting story I found the last day, and I wanted to just bring it to you. Japanese father returns to Thailand pursuing 17-year-old quest for daughter's murderer. Now, Yasuaki Kawashita, a Japanese man from Osaka, has returned to Thailand on a quest for justice in his daughter's murder, a case unsolved for 17 years. Tomoko, aged 27 at the time, was killed during Thailand's Krathong festival in Sukhothai province. Her body was discovered near Wat Saphan Hin, with her throat slashed, leading authorities to suspect robbery. Now, despite the annual visits he made to Thailand in pursuit of answers, Kawashita, now 75, halted his trips due to COVID-19 outbreaks. This marks his first return since then. His agenda includes meeting with Justice Minister Tawi Salsong to assess the progress in the investigation and to request an extension to the statute of limitations due to expire in 2027. Now, fair play to this father for coming over to Thailand every year to make sure that this case does not get forgotten about, and hence why we put on this show again, because things we put on the internet will always be on the internet, and that's one thing I'm always very mindful of when I put out shows and talk about topics like this. Now, this case was quite brutal. The woman's throat was slashed. Now, they did use DNA, and they say because they were never after a Thai suspect. They don't believe it was a Thai person. DNA from the scene suggested that it was a a South Asian person. They actually think it was a Japanese man that she possibly had met, that she was seen with that day, and the DNA points to that as well, but they were never able to catch this person. It is very, very tragic, and it's horrible to think that a young lady, you know, with her life ahead of her, heads off on holiday to Thailand. She's here for the Krathong festival, and something like this happens to her, and that's her life over and finished, and nothing. That's it. It's death. It's the end. And her father's left to pick up the pieces. But I will say, I admire the man for coming to Thailand each and every year, obviously not during the COVID, to make sure that people don't forget his daughter and don't forget what happened. And fair play to him. And I hope he finds justice, and I hope she, you know, is, you know, in the right place now. But nevertheless, I hope. Actually, the stories got me a little emotional today, because I do feel for this man, and I feel that he's, you know, he's a good father, and he's been doing his best. We'll move on to the next and final story. Now, Welsh father confronts life-altering reality after Thailand holiday mishap. Now, this is a story I just wanted to bring to you today, because we've always highlighted, you see in the news a lot, accidents, people ended up very injured, always on the GoFundMe because they never had insurance, they weren't wearing their motorbike helmet and whatnot. This is a story of the complete opposite. This man did have insurance, and he was wearing his motorbike helmet. And this is just a little story about him, and I think it's worth mentioning today. Lee, a dedicated 50-year-old father and an occupational therapist from Church Village, embarked on a family vacation to Thailand, intending to reunite with his daughter Katie after a 5-month separation. However, tragedy struck on the trip's final day when a motorcycle accident left him paralyzed from the waist down. The aftermath of the crash was severe, with Lee sustaining multiple injuries, including broken ribs, a fractured spine, and lung contusions. Despite successful surgery, the prognosis was grim. Lee would never walk again, a devastating blow for someone deeply involved in physical activities like basketball and hiking. Actually, he was a coach. The journey back to Wales was arduous, with Lee enduring an 18-hour stretcher flight. Supported by his family, particularly his daughter Abigail, he navigated the complexities of insurance and medical care upon his return. Now recovering at the University Hospital in Wales and Cardiff, Lee faces the daunting task of adjusting to his new reality. Despite the challenges, he remains determined, already contemplating ways to stay involved in basketball, potentially through coaching wheelchair basketball. Lee emphasizes the importance of safety precautions, like wearing a helmet and having comprehensive travel insurance. His wife Claire, who also suffered injuries in the accident, underscores the suddenness with which life can change. The ordeal highlights the need for support and love in facing such challenges. Facing significant adjustments to his home for accessibility, Lee confronts the harsh reality of funding and accessibility with a GoFundMe page established by his family to aid in his endeavour. Lee's story serves as a reminder of life's fragility and his resilience of the human spirit. As he prepares for a lengthy rehabilitation journey, his focus on day-to-day progress and the overwhelming support from loved ones and strangers alike offer hope amidst adversity. And I think just kind of brings to you how fragile life is. Now, we've all, as I say on this show, when you come to Thailand, make sure you have your travel insurance. If you're riding a bike, make sure you have your helmet and whatnot. And by the way, if you've never ridden a bike before, Thailand isn't a place to start learning. So I don't know if Lee knew how to ride a bike, or just he decided when he got here that he was going to, but I guess his insurance paid out. So at the end of the day, he must have had the proper paperwork. But even the most experienced people riding bikes can have tragic accidents in this country, because the roads are very, very dangerous. And this is just a reminder to people, tourists coming here. If you're coming here for a short holiday, you're coming, just get a taxi where you're going. Forget about renting a motorbike. Places like Phuket and Pattaya, where it's very, very busy and there's lots of traffic, it's not the place to try and learn to ride a motorcycle. And this is my little bit of advice to you today. Just get a tuk-tuk or a taxi, and leave it at that. Forget about getting on the bike and thinking, oh, this is all part of Thailand, because in an instant, it can be all gone. But folks, nevertheless, that is it for today. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we'll be back in the next day or two with the next show. Anyway, thanks again for your support as always. Take care, and bye-bye.